Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Okay. Any changes or, oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Do we have any changes, or shall we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve as presented.
I did add an attachment to the fire department payroll resolution, so I'm not sure what version of the packet you have pulled up, but if your attachment's not there, you may just need to go to the website and
Refresh.
refresh. Yeah.
Motion, and do I have a support?
Support.
Support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Didn't you send that attachment?
It's attached.
No, I mean, did you send it?
I just attached it to the packet. That's it right here. This is the first resolution 2021 is last year's resolution, and then the second one is the proposed.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, on our consent agenda, we have 5 items. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, on our council and staff reports, give Greg a second here, I guess.
I'm good to go. Melanie is supposed to be joining us by meeting, but they were driving, so I'm not sure. I've texted as well, so
Maybe
we
she'll
shall see. Let's see. Michael probably mentioned it, but we're going to get lures wrapped up this week. DNR is coming up next week. Hopefully we can get that project wrapped up and completed. Construction pre-con meeting for Mount Pleasant Phase 2 is tomorrow. The audit starts next week as well. The website is live as of August 1st. I just wrote a real brief article that we're going to post on Facebook and social media. And if you find anything, let us know if we find things. We found several things today, so we'll keep improving it, making it better, adding content, and improving it. I do like the look and feel of it, but we do have some improvements to make, and we're going to give them a call as well. But it is live. And Iowa Pump Works does have concerns about the withholding of the all of the retainage, or a portion of the retainage, so we'll be meeting to discuss that issue as well, and let you know or keep you updated on that issue. So,
Thank you. Mr. Brissy?
I want to start with last week. We approved the Millville sidewalks, and I'd made a statement about the cost of concrete from Ideal. It was misinformation to me. I made the statement of $20 a yard. That was $20 a truck. So I just want to apologize to Ideal. It was my mistake, and I'm here to apologize that that total increase was not just from Ideal. I didn't mean to make it sound like the increase in that bid was caused by Ideal. That was my mistake, and I just wanted to apologize and clarify that I made a mistake on that. So, second, Greg touched on lures. Water main would have been finished today, but the rain came. They're concentrating on locating utilities for the storm drain leaving the back of the tower. They're out there moving dirt now. I don't know if they're still laying water main, but by tomorrow that should all be in, and then they need to start their back T-tests and the next step. So it's still moving forward out there.
Okay. Sean?
Okay. On the building side, you may have noticed if you've been out by the hospital, there's a lot of work going on out there. They're redoing their parking lot, and also the daycare is going along real well. That's an addition of about 18,000 square foot to that, or excuse me, 1,800 square foot to the existing one. And behind the high school, that house where the former football coach lived, where Mr. Eilers lived. The school had purchased that. They're going to be remodeling that into the new admin offices later this year, but for right now, they're doing some parking lot work on that, so that's why you see that all tore up, and they're closing off the driveway that's along Van Wees. Working on some lawns, some signs, and just doing some code reviews for some various projects. On the fire side, I didn't make the last meeting. Jesse and I happened to be in South Dakota doing the final inspection on the new engine. We found some things, they got them addressed, and then we went Monday and picked it up. Just this week, we picked that up. We're currently getting everything fitted into it, the radios, flashlights, get the equipment mounted. When the nozzles show up, we'll get the hose transferred over and everything, and it should be close to going into service. So I'll try to get some pictures with the update that I got to get Greg yet tonight.
Thank you.
When the hospital did the parking lot in addition to the thing, they get a building permit for that?
The one they're doing right now, yes. I finally got after him. We got it taken care of.
So how much was that? Do you know? Do you remember?
On my end, what we billed them,
No. The estimate of the work,
yes, I do have that. 1.6.
1.6 million.
Yep.
Last night, we participated at National Night Out down at the Burlington Auditorium. Our police department and the fire department was down there. Sergeant Dunham and Officer McCampbell went with the police department. And then we are having an officer testing on Saturday. We'll see how it goes. That's about all I got with that.
How many do you have?
I have 7 that signed up. We'll see how many show up. And anybody passes.
Kelly, anything? Okay. Finance?
Get ready for the audit.
Okay. Kathy?
Nothing for me tonight, thank you.
Andy?
Not this week, thanks.
Okay. John?
A month pass.
We're in the clear.
Oh, my goodness. And I don't have any, and we don't have Melanie on yet, right?
Not that I've seen. Brad can control it from back there as well. I've texted and
Okay.
sent her that way as well, so.
Might be in a dead spot in
Could be.
reception or something. Okay, no citizen inquiries, looks like, and no reports. No old business that I know of. For new business, we have consider the final reading of an ordinance establishing the July 2022 tax increment financing district for the West Burlington urban renewal area. So it's a final reading.
Motion.
Any discussion on this? Oh, excuse me. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion support. Any discussion on this? If not, I'll call for a roll call vote.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider resolution approving the distribution of the fire department stipend for fiscal year 22-23.
Motion approved.
Motion,
Support.
motion support, discussion?
I'll let the chief chime in here. I'm just going to touch on a couple things that I had asked for, included last year's as a comparison for what the council's done in recent years. I'll let the chief has put this together compared to the last 3 years, looking to attract and retain firefighters versus the percentage approach. Tara had done a couple random checks on it for me as well, just to see if there was a major difference in cost. It basically fluctuates based on calls, who makes the calls, and we're not talking a significant difference Sean did put together some numbers. I'll just point those out real quick. For 2019, just for calls, it would have been, instead of 22,450, it would have come out to about 26,300. For 2020, instead of 26,150, it would have come out to about 22,660. For 21, instead of 35,623, it'd come out to about 37,423. Based on those years, and increasing calls each year. But Sean, do you want to talk about why you want to put this route forward?
So we originally went with the percentage, this is based off back when we had the SAFER grant, where federal government was paying 60% and the city kicked in 40% of the funding for the wages. When we had that extra pay, that was great. We were getting some good turnout. Matter of fact, the one after we shortly implemented this, the 1 month, that was the first time I had ever seen the entire fire department make 50% of all the alarms in a month's time. Haven't had that happen in a long time. Looking at how we've been doing it, when you break it down, if you make 1 to 7 calls out of a month, you're not getting anything, not a dime. My proposed one is based on a per alarm basis, so you would get something for those 1 to 7 calls to reimburse you for your time, leaving your kid's birthday party, Christmas, whatever, middle of dinner. Helps. It's not going to put a full tank of gas in the truck, but it's going to put some. I went through the numbers, kind of did, if you're on probation, I don't think you should be getting the full amount. So I did a probationary right around the minimum wage amount. And then after you complete the probation, which is 1 year's time, is you go to the full amount, which is 10 per call. And then I also broke it down for the various officers based on their rank and responsibility levels. The meeting pay I increased by $5 from 25 to 30, just trying to get guys coming to meetings. It's hard to do training when you have 8 guys show up for a meeting. So I understand everyone's got things going on, people got work, but we made a commitment to the community, we need to stand by it. So trying to get that carried out there. A big thing with fire departments, volunteer departments across, not just here in Iowa, throughout the U.S., is getting the recruitment and the retention. So I'm trying to get something working along those lines of getting that retention. Getting them to come to calls, so they make the calls.
Want to point out the new items as well?
Yeah, the other item on there that's new is the $100 for 4th of July. That's not just the pancake breakfast. That includes doing we did the Little Squirts water ball fight this year, which is something we want to continue doing. So there's the events. Those guys put in about 36 hours leading into the 4th of July pancake breakfast and through that day up until the cleanup time's done. And yeah, they made about $8,500, $9,000 this year, but by the time they pay their expenses, they're down to around $5,000. They've said many times they can stand on the corner doing fill the stocking and make $1,000 an hour, and in 20 hours they had $20,000. So they're kind of looking at it as like, we're doing all this. I want them to keep doing it. So it's kind of, again, it's that carrot. Come on, guys. And they've made comments. Everyone else is getting paid to be up here, with the exception of obviously you and your other volunteers that line up and help out on that day. But I'm trying to get that carrot to get them to be there to do those things. If a call kicks out, they have to go out and answer that call, and then there's nobody there making anything. One other example is we just spent 31 hours up at Yarmouth helping them out on that tragic call. Under the current pay system, some of those guys, they got nothing. Under my system, if a call goes over 4 hours, we would double it. They would have gotten at least $20 for their time. So it's kind of a little bit more rewarding to them, I think.
in your not to exceed?
We did do this is the first time I added it. We budgeted a set amount. It will not be amended. The not to exceed is 990, which is what it's been for all these years. That's based on Pat O'Connell's recommendation dating back to 2015, 16, when we did that original proposal. But the budgeted funds, what's budgeted, that's a line item number that should not be exceeded. It's locked in, and if we go over it, we don't amend it. When it's gone, it's gone. They hit 'em all.
But that's for this year. Next year and the year after, then you add it into it, right? The line item. You would just.
So you would just, this year, I think we're budgeted, and I'm just gonna throw a number of, I think it's 53,000. Next year, we'd add whatever, if you decide to give an increase, it'd be an increase. When it's gone, it's gone. It's not, we're not gonna add more onto that line item each year, other than, we're not gonna do an amendment, I guess, is what I'm saying. We're not gonna amend it if we exceed it. We're not going to exceed it. The amount budgeted is 53,000 and change, or
53,200.
okay, so 53,200. If we hit 53,200, we do not amend that. I won't be coming here saying I want to amend that. Once that's expended, that's expended.
Historically, how have we hit the maximum on that number?
No.
Greg just gave the numbers.
We gave back almost 18,000 last year. And every year we've been giving back between 13,000 and 18,000 for the last couple of years. We haven't come close to that number.
And what will this add to it?
Pardon me one second.
Approximately, I think based on my averages, it was about $6,000. So we're still gonna be, I think when Greg did the math, he was somewhere around $11,000 where we would still have extra.
Right now, we're still rolling that extra into your,
No.
Is it-
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but no, we're actually, that changed 6 months ago,
Okay.
that it goes back to general fund. It all goes to general fund. We don't roll it back
Okay.
in anymore.
Sure.
Yeah, we changed that.
When did they start the stipend?
That actually started when we got the SAFER grant, which would have been 2011.
And there's no current grants of any kind like that?
We have to get everybody certified, and we were trying to, the grants kind of got messed up in their administration when we took over. We should have had 150,000, instead we had like 450. So Jesse, Angie, and I were running crazy. Spending a lot of money trying to get that spent down. So we're trying to get back in the good graces with FEMA before we go asking for another AFG grant. You probably remember those days, Therese. Mm-hmm. The infamous fire department council meetings.
On average, how many firefighters show up for a call?
Med calls, it's 3. Fire calls, we're running right around 6 to 7 for an average. And the average call is running approximately 26 to 36 minutes. I'd have to double check that figure, but that's the last time I ran that, it was right in that range. And then you've got your report time, putting the truck back in service, so it comes out to about an hour.
And how many do you need to show up at this time for an average call?
For a fire call, technically you should have 18 on scene. I'd love to have all of them showing up.
But that's why we went to that auto aid agreement also, to help with Burlington coming or us going to Burlington.
Med call, I'd like to have 3 to 4 showing up every time, or more. We do get quite a few overlap calls, so one call comes in, another one comes in while we're on that one. We still are averaging a decent number on that.
Well, I don't have a problem with doing this because that's pretty cheap wages for counting on someone to pull out of bed and come and fight a fire. And I think we need to do as much as we can to promote volunteer firefighters, because they're getting to be few and far between, like nurses.
Hello, I'm here.
Melanie's here.
Quite an entrance.
Hello.
Hey, hi guys. I don't know what went wrong or did go wrong, but now I can see y'all.
Good. Further discussion on this?
No.
I like it. I think that we need to definitely increase what they're making, especially at the beginning. I just want to point out, and it probably won't happen, but my fear is what happens at the end when we run out of money. Because the last couple of years are the years of never happens, so I want to bring it up, that we'll have to make sure we address that if that were to ever happen.
It was 2008 or 2009, they did an adjustment change when Lenny Sanders was chief. And we all had to sign an agreement that said, when the money's gone, that's it. So if the budget went to zero in April, we went May, June, and for payroll was zero. I got no problem if we have to do that, taking that to the guys and saying this is the way it is.
We've discussed it several times during the meetings here the last month, 2 months, and they're all understand that that's on the table, that could happen, and they understand that. So
Well, a couple things I like and a couple things I don't. I really like the extension beyond 3 hours compensated 2 times their single alarm rate. I think that's a good idea. Paying for the meetings, you're going to know that better than I, so I'll trust you on that $5 increase. I think the general stipends per call are frankly pretty low. I'd like to see us even go higher in the future than that, and I'd be okay even, I'd be the one looking at that budget saying, let's look at it and make sure it's okay, because I think the opposite side of that, of going to full-time firefighters, would be such an astronomical amount that this per call stipend is pretty cheap compared to that. So seeing $10 per alarm for a firefighter, think of how much people are getting paid to go work at Target and stuff right now, and we're asking them to go fight a fire at $10.
I'd like to give this a couple years to see where we're coming in. If we're coming in real low, then yeah, increase that. But I definitely want to kind of feel this out. This is a starting point.
Well, I personally would have room to move there at some point in time. However, the 4th of July mention, I think, sets a bad precedent, and I'm not for that. I'd rather pay you more per call and not have that line item in there myself, but that's me. It's a volunteer event, and it raises funds for a foundation, and to me, you'd be involved in those things and give your time, and so I'd rather have that out there and up it per call, but that's my opinion.
Your Honor? Sorry, somebody else?
I don't know, John?
I think that I agreed with Andy, it's a whole lot better than being a full fire department, full paid. My concern is where this is going next budget and the next budget and next budget. You see you're running close this year, and then you come to the budget session next year and you say, we need to up this $3,000 or $4,000 so that we don't run over it, And then the next year it's the same thing, and then pretty soon, it could be, it could get out of hand,
The only money we've ever asked for the firefighter stipend is what was originally budgeted, and then it's added, I think, historically 2.5% every year. I've never come in here and said,
But
add another 5, add another 10.
But you've never done this before. That's what I'm talking about.
No.
This is pretty cheap, John.
It is, I agree.
For a
You
fire
know,
I mean, that's-
I'm not against it.
What we
I'm-
budget right now is less than one
My concern is next year,
person.
the year after, and the year after.
This past year, they were under by 8, was it 18 or 13? Do you recall? But in prior years, it was closer, it was much closer. That would just happen to be this past year, I believe. Or 21, was it 21, 22?
That was 21, 22, that we were around 18.
And irregardless of the wage, we'll still be hit with that limitation on part-time staff versus, or volunteer firefighters under state code versus full-time firefighters. We've got to watch that issue closely.
I think they had about $16,000 that they had used.
It's close.
I mean,
I see what you're saying, though. I understand what you're saying. And I could put it in writing.
There's $22,395 left over. $23,123 left over from last fiscal year.
Greg, have you checked with other volunteer fire department cities and what they,
There are
Sean
some
has,
that
go ahead.
you get one. You get your $1 to cover your insurance. There's some that pay $30 per call. They're not making as many calls as we are, obviously. It varies. There's some departments that pay them like $20 an hour. I don't know how they're doing it, but, and those are volunteer departments, and that's just in talking with other volunteers. But the highest I've seen is 30 per call.
is that pretty much comparable in size to West Burlington?
Some are larger.
Are you on the Chiefs?
I'm on the Iowa
This
Chiefs,
serves?
but that's all paid.
Right. Many volunteers on that
No,
list?
not on the professionals.
Well, Melanie, do you have any questions?
In general, I agree with what's being requested. The only thing regarding the 4th of July stipend, I'm not in favor of that volunteer function becoming paid. Other than that, I can't add anything to what I've said.
Well, at this point, unless there's an amendment to this, I will call for a vote. Any,
This year, we're not paying anybody $100 to participate in the 4th of July activities this year, correct? And how many volunteers?
So this year, in order to be eligible for that, you would have had to been there for the Little Squirts water fight throughout that whole thing, and we only had 7 guys there, so that would have been 7 of them. So that would have been $700 instead of 2,200.
so them going up to the pancake breakfast and all that stuff, they wouldn't get the $100.
No. There was, all the guys were there for the pancake breakfast with the exception of, what was there, 4 of them working.
Yeah.
It's, you have to help with all the events, all the day's events that the fire department's involved in, not just the pancake breakfast. It's the Little Squirts. We go down and do the bike ride, the parade. We let them bring their family up for that. There's more to it than just the pancake breakfast. But if you guys want to amend it and eliminate that portion, and then that kind of gives us an idea where to look for maybe next year and go with Andy's idea and John's idea of increasing those stipend amounts, and give us a little more wiggle room for next year. I'm fine. I'm just trying to find something to get the recruitment and retention for coming to those calls and coming to training.
Who came up with the idea of the $100 for 4th
I
of
did.
July? It
I
was you?
did, just trying to get that carrot out there. I used to do the pancake breakfasts when I was the president of the association. I know the number of hours that you have to put into it, all the hard work, run around stuff, so. But I also know, you know, you basically give your family up for the whole day because you're up there beyond the pancake breakfast.
How about a free swimming pool?
Yeah, where's our old swimming pool passes? Yeah. I'll take a party.
Okay, we have our motion in front of us. Call for a vote.
Roll call.
Roll call. Mhm.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Browner.
Nay.
Motion carries.
What about
Melanie?
Young?
I'm
Oh, sorry, Young.
Young.
We lose her?
Melanie.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, our third item, new business, consider disposing of a vehicle by selling it on govdeals.com.
So moved.
Motion?
Support.
Motion, support.
Sorry.
Discussion?
Just want to clarify, okay, it's the city's website and Gov Deals. We know of at least 2 local interested parties, so we want to give those folks an opportunity to respond as well.
Okay. Motion, support, any discussion on this?
That's not our decoy car we were given
No,
the, okay.
no, it's not. Nope, it's not. It's another Crown Vic that we had.
Okay.
Seeing no more discussion, call for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries on that. Number 4, consider approving change order number 6 from Boomerang for the water tower and booster station project. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion? Anything on this? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 5, consider approving a quote from Proline Striping for the roadway striping services.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
Just a quick question. Mike, when I was out driving between Des Moines and Muscatine, the state was out doing lines. Have we ever talked to DOT about contracting with the state?
I have not.
I
can check and see if it's an option, but
I think.
sure they have plenty of their own.
I'm sure they do, and I don't know they do it, but it just popped into my head because I
Yeah.
saw them the other day while they're out doing the same thing. So maybe it's something we want to check into for the future.
How has this gotten done in the past?
Same, last 3 years we've done, it's a different contractor, but his bid was $6,000 higher than this one. This is the first time I hired this contractor. Greg said they use them in Muscatine. They've been in Burlington. They did jobs for some of the, over there for the college, the crosswalks and that. They were hired from the contractor. They did those emblems and painting over there, so they've been around and doing work in Burlington, and their bid was just lower, so.
Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same- Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 6, consider approving a quote from Red Equipment for repairs to the sewer jet truck.
Hadn't had much time since this happened. We've got lots of quotes and lots of things coming in, and it's one of them pieces of equipment that I've said the last 2 years that we need to be saving money. Unfortunately, it's 20 years old, the lifespan's 7 to 15 on them. This repair cost that you got in front of you, 25,000 something, has now went up to 28 something because why the machine is tore down, there's 2 jack shafts, 4 bearings and 2 belts that if we don't replace them when it's apart, then we'll have to disassemble the truck again if that belt goes bad and the age on them belts. I think it's wise to put them in at the same time, but 2 companies that have given us quotes on machines have informed us they don't want that and no one will take it in on trade because of its age. It will have to be auctioned, and their rough guesstimate was 35 to 50,000 is all the machines were. So me and Greg have discussed that if we put almost 30 in it, and we may not even be able to sell it for that to replace it too. So it's kind of up in the air. New ones, I'm getting prices back at 350 to 475,000.
Wow.
I think we'd probably be closer to the bottom end of that, but it's like purchasing a fire engine. We have this scheduled 6 or 7 years out, I believe, on the equipment list. We have $90,000 in the sewer equipment reserve fund at this point in time.
I had not asked Angie for the information on the streets and water because now that we use this vac truck for doing potholes and cleaning off water mains, it is getting a lot of time in the water department and sewer, so it may be something we can take not just out of sewer. There are options of 5 or 7 year leases, and at the end of the lease, you pay $1 and you own the vehicle. They're telling me. We did have one stop that we asked. They were coming to town. They were in Burlington yesterday, and they demoed one today, and another company is bringing another one down to look at, just seeing different options and things. So I'm going to go over to Burlington with Chris because of what was here and get input from them because they have a vac and jetter combined, and then they have 2 other ones. They have a new jetter coming in just on a trailer, I think it is. They keep 3 in. I have contacted Chris. If we have an emergency right now, I can call him, and it'll just take a little longer to get his guys in to get them out here to help us if we get a plugged one. I've made contact with Four Seasons in the same route if Burlington's busy. Phi is available. I got Wagenbach. It's just going to take me longer to address a plug sewer in the middle of the night to get somebody here, but I have got everybody notified that we are down at this point.
So if we had to use someone else, what would they charge for their services?
That all is on how many hours or what it takes. I didn't discuss price with Chris. I helped them out during flood season. They borrow our pumps when the river's out. I'm assuming that Chris will help me out if he can come out here for an hour and clean out, open the sewer and go back home, or I don't know what, there was no fees charged. I wasn't, at this point, I was more concerned of how do we take care of our citizens when our machine's down. So I haven't asked for prices or whatnot, so.
We're at a bit of a quandary. Do we repair it and spend $25,000 on a 20-year-old piece of equipment? Do we, and then continue to put away the funding for several years out and hope that it gets there? Or do we look at purchasing a new vehicle and using up existing fund balances, equipment fund balances, and then starting over? It's a bit of a tough one. During budget, we were thinking it would probably last another 6 or 7 years. I believe is what
I
we
think
have
I
on
was
the schedule.
thinking maybe 3 to 5, but I thought that with the sweeper too, and then we all know what happened to the sweeper, so.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, we got trucks out there that are 20, some older than that. I mean, we try and get what we can, but the problem is when they fall, they fall.
Just to clarify a couple things. So even if we approve this tonight, we're 60 to 90 days out from having it repaired. Is that what I'm reading?
That's the earliest they can get the gearbox.
Okay.
So it could be longer than that.
Okay.
What did you say that it would cost if we were to rent or to
I
lease?
didn't ask for costs. I just asked for emergency assistance at this point when I knew I was down and I needed access, and I got at least 3 directions. 4, Phi has one too. My main concern was just, can we get a hold of one? So make sure there's people out there who will help us if we have an emergency.
What's your thoughts on the rest of the vehicle? If we do this repair, are we gonna get another 5 to 7 years out of it?
I can't guarantee you. They all looked at it and they told us the blower would be roughly 30,000 to replace a blower again if we needed to on it. The tanks leak on it. It's that age that we have just kept dumping money and tacking it back together, and now we're up to the costly repairs now.
I'd say these,
I know I have two pickups that are on their last leg, and that's what I was planning on replacing next, and not this one, but we also weren't planning on replacing the sweeper when we had to do it either.
So is the motor okay in it, and the tranny okay? in this?
Yeah, well, this gearbox, the tranny runs through it, so
Tranny runs through it.
there's no top on it. Bearing went out, shaft came up, and the shiv went through the top and blew the whole top off the case. The drive shaft for the rear axle goes through the same thing. We were able to drive it from where it was to the shop, but there's no oil in it. You can't hold oil in a broken case, so it's not like we can drive it anywhere. That's why that quote was, put her over our pit, and there's 2 nights of, they're gonna come to our shop and actually repair it, because we can't get it other unless you tow it, and a tow bill would be a lot more expensive than paying that 2 nights for them to come here and do the work. This is like any other job. This is exploded until they pull it off and check. There's no tranny fluid running out, but it's bolted to the tranny housing. Something else could come up when they start disassembling it.
if we were to proceed with the repair, hope that we do actually get, what was it, 25 to 50, 35 to 50 out of it, not at trade-in, but on a sale to a smaller community. We could certainly review it during the budget process and have a better idea where we are with equipment and gather those funds up. I mean, that's certainly an option as well. We'd be bringing it forward earlier than expected. Actually, we were talking about Mike's program out there. We're going to do a little education on it, because I think it sounds like it's got a lot of information in there that council's looking for on all of their vehicles and equipment, and squad car vehicles and equipment, mileage, repairs. We should be able to print out a report from that and do exactly what council was looking for. But in the scheme of capital expenditures, we'd probably have to reconfigure.
You got that issue of, like I said, I know everything's a money issue, and it's trying to take care of equipment, and I think we do good at making things last, but in another sense, maybe we should replace it sooner when it's worth something. So we have a trade-in value and update, and then wait until we're on our last leg. I mean, it's you guys' call how you want to go about that.
I think right now it's worth nothing. Not running.
No, it's
tapped
and that's
out
what they
right
said.
now.
You couldn't even sell it.
Scrap steel.
You couldn't sell it for the way it's sitting. I mean,
So it makes sense to me to spend the 30,000, get it fixed. If it's worth 30,000 later, then you have the truck running, you have it, and then we have time to look at the budget and see what other equipment and everything else is coming up. Because I don't want to make that decision right now, not knowing what else out there is bad. I'd rather spend the 30 and get it fixed and get going and get that back out of it. We're still back to zero, but we got a vehicle working.
yeah, and like I said, you know how that is. You've been around it, Johnny.
Yeah. Oh,
Once they tear into it,
yep.
we could find something else. And at that point, we could stop and let them take the gearbox and parts back, and if it's something worse, and if you end up talking 50, 60,000 to get it running, then that's where you're gonna have to cut the cord, because you'll never get your money back out of it.
Greg, what's our option? You mentioned the 90,000 in the sewer reserve. Let's say we all wanted to go out and buy a new one today. What other reserve do we have sitting?
We'd look at streets and water. I don't think I have it on this sheet. I don't know. Angie, can you pull those up from where you are? Capital reserve, actually. Let's see here.
Capital reserve, there's 90,000 $920. Capital project sewer, there's 4,000 in there. Water, capital reserve for water is 82,546.15. Public works reserve is 69,439.
Was that streets, you say?
It's public works, there's
Public Works? Right. Now, I guess
That's
some
240
tentative
roughly.
good news. And Angie's still working on this, but tentative, not a guarantee. Just want to be sure. The fiscal year end 21-22 general fund budget was budgeted or come in around 611,512. We budgeted for this current fiscal year 22-23 for the general fund to come in at 830,682 at that 23.43%. Tentatively, it looks like we're going to come in at 1.173. About $300,000 better than expected.
I emphasize tentatively.
Tentative.
We'll know next week
Tentative.
when the auditors are here.
Yes,
So.
yeah.
I'm with Johnny. Let's fix it.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, because I agree, it's worth nothing there, but I also understand that you could end up putting more in it than what it's worth, and we won't get that, we'll lose that. But at this point, we have nothing. And I know we need to figure out, we need time to figure out where we're going to get the money to do it, so.
Okay. I'll call for a vote then. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion carries. I didn't hear anything from Melanie, though.
Yes, you said
Oh, did she? Okay.
I guess I had-
Aye.
Aye.
I guess I had one more thing on that. Let's say they come and, they need another $10,000 to fix it, and something else come up, and we have to wait 2 weeks for a council meeting to approve it.
We call a special meeting.
Okay.
You can even do it by Zoom. As long as we have, notice it appropriately.
Because, we're gonna have to make a decision right then and there,
Right.
if we have.
Yeah, and that's,
And we have
I mean, I don't,
flexibility.
3 to 6 months or 8 or 10, I don't know when they're going to get the parts, but once they show up, they start turning in and find something, I will let Greg know immediately at that point.
Right.
It might cost you another night in a motel to have those 2 maintenance guys sit here while we make a decision and call a special meeting, but,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah,
Just
no, I definitely.
Put that out there.
Yeah, I
just wanted to put
would
that-
definitely,
We do have some flexibility, about $5,000 worth of flexibility in there. We would certainly notify the council, but without having to call a meeting. So,
Something we'll have to all think about over this time period.
Okay.
Last item on our new business, consider a resolution authorizing the use of the hotel motel tax revenue to help pay for electrical upgrades on Broadway Street to support community events.
Motion approved.
To support that.
Motion and support. Discussion.
This is just a little cleanup to make it clear that we were going to be using the an up to amount for, out of hotel motel for the electrical upgrades. Wanted to make sure we had the resolution on file and that it accurately reflected council's discussion earlier on.
So what's our balance in the hotel motel tax? In that account? Sorry.
Budgeted at 128.6 for the end of this fiscal year. Beginning year balance, 108,647, based on the budget.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, number one, they did get it in and before the 4th, so we appreciate that and everything that Josh Schuff and 3E did for us. I mean, that was a huge thing they did for the city, giving all that and their time to do it too. And Mike too, for investigating 40 different options we had talked about for months about how to get that done. So it works, it's out there, and there's plenty of room to grow in the future if we need to do things or change things. So appreciate everybody's help and support on that.
One ministerial item, Your Honor, it should say in paragraph 3, amount of 10,000, it should say amount of up to 10,000. It's actually,
The bill from, we got was 4,900.
That's
and
only
some-
that's only for the install from the electrician. You haven't got 3Es yet.
Oh, thanks for the
so,
Josh is figuring how much.
actual expenditure,
Yeah.
up to 10,000.
All right,
I think it was estimated like 9,000.
Yeah, it's under that.
yeah.
Just as another note, did we send a thank you to people who provided this?
We've done a little thank you, but we could sure do some more, I
It'd be
think.
nice to have the entire city council sign something, I think.
Yeah. I think that'd be appropriate.
I guess I'm in the middle of having a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No other citizen inquiries, I don't believe. Do you want to make mention of the future work sessions?
I don't know that we have a date yet.
I don't think we do.
I haven't heard back yet. You've been in touch with the, with the superintendent, actually.
Jesse had been too, also.
Jesse,
right?
yeah, Jesse, yeah. Jesse had actually talked to her on a different subject. She's supposed to get a hold of me when she's got a date in mind. I believe you said she was also waiting for the middle school principal to be in place?
I think that was Jesse.
Elementary?
Yeah.
Right. So,
And I think also they were hoping to get some of the work done in case we wanted to take a look at what's been changed and so forth. So I think they were looking at the second Wednesday in September, but I haven't heard back either.
right.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned, and we will be moving into closed session.